have been making monitors that look like this for years. Not this thin, but I mean, keep in mind, those monitors are thin. They don't have a complete computer inside, so that's kind of cool. But the reality is that the design of this, I don't find it shockingly impressive, where I'm like, I think they just stepped into the PC world with it.
It's less the design. I mean, this is actually a very similar design that the iMac has had for over a decade.
It's thinking of thinner. The iMac.
The other thing that it's done is they've got a different connector. So your power cable now, it attaches with a magnet connector, and you don't have to plug your Ethernet cable into that computer anymore. You plug the Ethernet cable into the power brick that sits on the floor, and that signal from the Ethernet actually feeds through the power cable. So it's a simpler design.
You people thought I made that up.
Different Windows box computer companies that were copying the iMac, not the other way around. And what Apple has done with these new iMacs is just really make them look slick, especially if you're in like some kind of, well, one day we'll all be back in offices. Can you imagine an office being set up and everybody's got these new iMacs and everybody's got a different color?
Oh, yeah, that's awful.
But I take it you'd suspect Tom if anything happened to Cass.
Well, of course I would.
Again, the M1 chip runs very efficient, so you don't have to have the same kind of cooling. That's another reason that they can be as thin as they are.
Well, the technology is amazing. There's no denying that.
The iMac was big because it's
now there is some other pieces of this puzzle that we're not going to talk about today. But can we talk about the AirTags and maybe save that for next week? What are the AirTags and what's exciting about them and worth everyone coming back to hear about?
Friends without them
knowing.
Yeah,
the AirTags is Apple's version of the Tile device, which are these small little, essentially, RFID tags that you can put in your wallet or attach to your keys or connect to your briefcase, so you can always find these devices. Tile got the start with these kinds of things, and Apple's new AirTags is their version of the same kind of a thing. We can talk about those and some other moves that Apple has made to try and increase that ecosystem next week.
All right, sounds good. Now, when it comes to the Google,
so she comes in the door. I need something to pop up on my phone.
Interesting, and I find it concerning and scary, but maybe it's kind of sexy too that Google's moving into the bedroom.
You said Google before the rest of this.
Encounter, Reardon fires several shots, killing Bryant. Interim Columbus Police Chief Michael Woods won't comment on the killing because it's being investigated by state authorities. But at a press conference yesterday, he did say that officers are trained to respond in kind.
When officers are faced with someone employing deadly force, deadly force can be the response the officer gives.
So that's the information and the explanation, I guess, would be the word that police are giving. How are people responding on the streets?
I hope you're dead.
Well, as you mentioned, there were several protests last night. I went to one in the street in front of police headquarters in downtown Columbus. I saw Tone Daniel looking on with tears in her eyes.
It isn't going to change anything overnight, but I think that it makes them see us in a different light. We're not animals. We're just asking for a little bit of peace and normalcy.
Daniel says she lives a couple of blocks from where Micaiah Bryant was staying with her foster family. She believes that this Bryant struggled, like most teenagers do, with various kinds of problems, but she certainly doesn't believe she deserved to die.
What do the protesters say, if anything, about maybe ambiguities is the word, or just what is seen on the video there?
Well, protesters have different views of what they're looking at there. Most of the protesters just feel that too much force was used, and that this kind of is indicative of the way police treat not only black people, but folks of all colors.
Are there other incidents that make people concerned in Columbus?
No, yeah, there have been quite a number. The Columbus Dispatch reports there have been 5 shootings of black people, killings of black people by police just since May, and there are 2 really striking ones in December alone. Casey Goodson Jr., 23-year-old, was killed in his Columbus doorway, and another man was killed also by Columbus police officers in December.
Frank, thanks very much.
You bet, Steve. Thanks.
That's NPR's Frank Morris. Schools are finding that students need more than just academic help as more of them return to in-person learning.
As of this week, about 60% of U.S. students in grades K through 12 are attending schools that offer in-person learning. And many school leaders will tell you their top priority right now is kids' mental health. This year has been stressful for so many children and traumatic for some who lost loved ones during the pandemic.
NPR's Corey Turner has been looking into what schools can do to help kids feel safe. It's part of a reporting partnership between NPR, Illinois Public Media, and Kaiser Health News. Corey, good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
What are you hearing from educators?
Well, they're talking a lot about the body's actual physical response to something stressful. So you know the feeling. Your stress hormones get elevated, your head starts pounding. In kids, when this stress response stays amped up like that for long periods of time, it can cause real serious health problems down the road. Now, superimpose that science, Steve, over this pandemic and the fact that many children have lost loved ones to COVID-19 or had a parent or a caregiver lose a job. Some have lost their homes. Maybe they've had less to eat. And obviously, as we just heard, it's not just the pandemic. There's our nation's racial reckoning, plus the storming of the Capitol. All happened in the past year. So my reporting partner, Christine Herman, and I, we spoke with a bunch of mental health experts and educators, and they all told us, look, if schools do not focus on helping kids feel safe and comfortable now, it is going to be a lot harder.
You tell kids to run and hide under a
blanket. And it's really interesting to hear you
say
that this is not...
But if either of you make a move, I'll shoot.
I've seen you around Dawson. They call you Laramie, don't they?
Some folks do.
Were you the one who fired the shots at Cass Evans tonight?
No, it was the other one. The one called Brent, Sergeant. Shut up. What can you do to make...
Was kind of being toyed around with, and then Apple changed the rules about how companies had to fit within that ecosystem. Xbox has figured it out, and Xbox Cloud Gaming is going to deliver gaming experiences to anybody who's part of the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription service. So you can play more than 100 different games on your iPhone or your iPad using an Xbox controller. If you're a member of the Ultimate Game Pass, you don't have to do anything. You'll get an email notifying you when you have access to the service. It's in beta.
Yeah, so several things. You know, counselors can meet with these students in smaller groups, or in some cases, they can arrange for one-on-one help. We met a boy named Kai. He's 9, lives in Washington, D.C. with his mom and his baby sister, and he's had a lot of worries around COVID, especially because his sister is immunocompromised. So through his elementary school, Kai has been talking with a therapist, and he says she has really helped him come up with a plan for when he feels stressed.
I would go in my room, lay on my bed, and either watch TV or play.
With its Stadia device, they tried to sort of remove any kind of hardware from it. And so this is just
we deem it to be. Like in the wake of COVID-19, we all have to wear a face mask. We have to spend money to buy face masks. That's an added cost to our daily living expenses, but that's something we need to do that we can't do without. Likewise, when it comes to carbon and capture, I know the technology so far is still immature and the cost of deploying them is still quite high. But until such point when we deem it entirely necessary, I guess we'll just have to absorb the cost and just carry on. Also, as we all deem it necessary, we might be able to come up with a way to mass produce these devices and therefore lowering the cost of producing them.
So you're describing kind of the Moore's law, that with, you know, the more production of us, or you know, just creating and using a certain technology, hopefully will bring the costs down. But
that's not Moore's law. I don't think.
That may become a major.
But they're kind of ballparking a release date. They're saying second half of May right now. And I think that, again, that's because they might be having...
We're all going to be wearing eyeglasses, driving cars. Bullshit.
Thought it was robbery, I suppose. They're going to the harbor for debt, but he was rescued.
Well, then why didn't he come home?
Because he lost his memory and never regained it. He changed his name because he didn't know his right one. His only clue was the initials on a handkerchief, C.E.
And Mom was right all along.
Yes.
His name is Charles Elliott.
Wouldn't you like to tell him that, Doc?
You know I would, Sergeant.
Lost his memory. That he couldn't have sent Dexter to jail. Dexter had nothing to be afraid of.
He has now. So have we until Dexter's behind bars.
Sergeant, there's Brandt, too. He's coming back here.
If he's still in Dawson, we'll pick him up there, and if we meet him on the trail, he'll join our party. Let's go.
As they started out with Laramie riding the sergeant's sled and Tom driving his own, Ben Dexter was pacing the floor of his room in the Palace Hotel.
There's got to be a way to
Brandt
clean
was
that up.
sitting on the bed. All the stupid, blundering fool. I told you how it was. I thought I hit him with
Yeah,
my
I can hear the voices almost
He
perfectly.
dropped on his sled. Never mind, never mind. You promised $10,000 to kill a man and you missed. You got away. It won't happen again. No, because the next time I'll see the job is done right. What's more to be done tonight? Here? In the hotel? Oh, listen. Do you know his dogs? I oughta. I saw him often enough when I was working up at the mine. Can you pick him out of the run in back of the hotel? Sure. Do you know his sled? Yeah. Then go downstairs, the back way. Get his team harnessed. Right away. Wait, that isn't all. After you finish harnessing the team, walk around to the front of the hotel and into the lobby. Yeah? Now ask the clerk what room he's in. Say that you have an important message for him that must be delivered in person. I got you. When you got the number of the room, climb the stairs to the second floor. Wait there for a few minutes. Then go back to the clerk. Tell him that he must be out. He didn't answer your knock. Yeah, but the key of the room, if the clerk doesn't have his key... A man doesn't always turn his key in at the desk. Now look, the clerk won't pay too much attention if you half asleep at this hour. Now, do you understand? Yeah. I say he didn't answer my knock. So you leave the hotel by the front way. Go round and back. Use the back stairs and come up here. Oh, I got you. Then you and me... That's all you have to do. Come back here after you're finished and I'll take charge. Right, boss. Brandt followed Dexter's instructions, but it was nearly half an hour later when he returned to the room. Well? All set. Been going long enough. Oh, I had a little trouble finding the sled, and then the dog started to bark. I beat them good, and they shut up. Anyone see him? No. All right. What's the number of his room? 210. Just below this one. Good. Now, when he opens the door, I want you to hit him once with the butt of your gun behind the ear. Knock him out, but don't crack his skull. Okay. I'll put this lamp out. Come on. Two men walked swiftly down the corridor to the back stairs, then down the back stairs to the second floor. Now they walked slowly, very softly. Ben struck a match. This is it. Don't want to knock too loud, but I've still got to wake him up. A message, Mr. Evans. It's important.
Fucking nice. What the fuck is he doing? You must smell the weed when I start breaking it up or something. Oh, I forgot to paste the last link. Oops. Oh, for fuck's sakes. We go into something. Stay for a minute. This is gonna be another 10 minutes, man. Let's go. Let's go. Keep showing me these edited fuck. Wow. Typing. Please keep locking up and freezing. When I look this way, I want it to lock up and freeze. When my head is here, I want it to be running perfectly. And whatever the fuck your game is. Wow. If it goes any fucking slower, I'm gonna just fucking not play anything. Fuck it. No music, no sound. Oh, this is good. It's bombarded with bad data. You're good. Bombard. You're good, bro. You're creative, Filmer. No, you hate me smoking weed because I'm your property and I'm not hitting. You're gonna do this and that, this and that. You're a fucking guy. Jesus Christ.
I'm saying no, I'm claiming I'm a criminal, but let's make it understood. I'm just one man with a whole lot of homeboys. You get the click in the pop when I pull out the clothes. Check me and I'll check it back. Then jump back in my big brother like a man. But don't take advantage of knowing that they got me. Just show me where they that is. All I was doing was searching for the moon. Then some punk tried to hit me with the broom. He had to quick up because he asked up. Plastic, I wanted was to have to pull it down. Out here comes a nigga, and he's got a 38 for like rap. Said, hey yo, I'm shooting up straight. Cause I put away the shotgun, call me a lock. Took a little trip to the monkey spot. Trying to jack me, but only got shot. La 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 la. Understand where I'm coming from. Got the best touch to fight. Understand where I'm coming from. Got the best touch to fight.
Wow, this is how you spend every fucking second and minute of every fucking day, bro. Just bombard. That's your video a week and you do every